That tiredness you feel won't go away because you're fighting the wrong thing. It's not a lack of physical energy. It's not a vitamin deficiency. It's not burnout that vacations will solve. It's exhausting trying to fit your imperfect life into a frame of perfection that should never have existed. It's exhaustion from waking up every day feeling like you should be better, do more, reach standards that you don't even know where they came from. He just knows he can't achieve it. And the more you try, the more tired you get. Because the problem isn't that you're not trying hard enough. It's you trying hard in the wrong direction. The Japanese philosophy of Wabi-Sabi offers something radically different from what you're used to hearing. It is no longer a self-help system promising to transform you into an optimized version of yourself. It's an invitation to stop trying to be optimized, to accept that imperfection is not a bug to be fixed. It is the very nature of existence. Wabi-Sabi is about finding deep beauty exactly where modern culture has taught you to see flaw. It's looking at a cracked object and not seeing a broken thing, but an object with a history, with character, with a soul that no perfect object will ever have. Think about the difference. You look at the perfect ceramic bowl, fresh from the factory, impeccable, beautiful, right? But cold, generic, no personality. Now look at the old bowl, with cracks, stains from use, irregularities. Each brand tells a story. How many hands held her? How many meals did it serve? How long did you testify? Which has more value? The perfect one or the lived one? Wabi-Sabi chooses the lived one, always. And when you apply this to your own life, something fundamental changes. Because you stop measuring value by the absence of defects. Start measuring by authenticity, for the marks that experience left. For the scars that prove you went through hard things and survived. And suddenly, your imperfections are no longer shameful. They are your story, your character, your uniqueness. But accepting this is not just a mental decision. It is not enough to understand intellectually. Because the body and nervous system still carry old patterns. They still contract when they encounter imperfection. They still judge. They still resist. And this is where the 528 Hz frequency comes in as a tool for somatic transformation. Sound is not abstract. It's physical vibration, moving air molecules that move molecules in your body. You're 60% water. Water responds to vibration in measurable ways. Put water in a dish and apply a specific frequency, you will see geometric patterns form. Cymatics demonstrates this visually. Your body does the same thing internally when exposed to frequencies. It's not vague metaphysics. It's applied physics. 528 Hz is called the frequency of love, transformation, repair. Some alternative researchers say it affects DNA, activates cellular healing processes. Mainstream science has not yet confirmed bolder claims. But what is verifiable is that certain frequencies alter states of consciousness. They facilitate shifts in brainwaves, and 528 Hz specifically has aperture quality of expansion to allow it to be released. When you listen, there is a physical sensation of something in your chest loosening. Tension you didn't even know you were holding begins to release. It is not a placebo, although a placebo is also a real and valid effect. It is acoustic resonance working at a frequency that your body recognizes as harmonic. How safe. As conducive to healing. Combining 528 Hz with Wabi-Sabi principles, you create the perfect environment for mental exhaustion to finally dissolve. Because it's attacking from two angles. Wabi-Sabi changes your cognitive interpretation of imperfection. 528 Hz changes your somatic response to it. When both align, internal resistance that was draining you collapses. And energy that was spent fighting against reality is finally released. Let's be honest about what really causes mental fatigue. It's not the amount of work. There are people working twice as hard as you without looking broken inside. It's not just bad sleep, although bad sleep makes everything worse. It's constant resistance. It's an internal war between how things are and how you demand them to be, between who you are and who you think you should be. This friction generates heat, friction, deep wear and tear that no amount of superficial self-care touches. You wake up and immediately start judging. How much sleep was not enough? What you did yesterday wasn't enough. How much you plan to do today probably won't be enough. And you spend all day carrying this weight of inadequacy, of never being enough, of always owing something to some invisible standard that you don't even know who established. He just knows he can't reach it. And the effort of trying to achieve while carrying the certainty that you will fail is what exhausts you, not the tasks themselves. The relationship you have with them. Wabi-Sabi nips this in the bud. It says, you are already whole. You don't need to achieve anything to become valid. Your cracks don't diminish you. They define you. They make you unique. And when you internalize this, when you feel this not as a concept but as a lived truth, the impossible weight you were carrying falls away. It just falls. And in the space that opens up, there is a lightness that you forgot was possible. There is a Japanese practice called kintsugi. When pottery breaks, artisans repair it using lacquer mixed with gold dust. Highlight the fractures, they celebrate. They become part of the beauty of the object, and a repaired piece is worth more than a flawless original, because now it has depth, layered story, complex beauty that sterile perfection will never have. You are like kintsugi bowl. Your breaks, gold. Your traumas, gold. Your flaws, gold. Not because suffering is good, but because surviving it changed you. It gave you perspective, compassion, strength that a person who has never been tested cannot have. So why do you hide these marks? Why pretend to be flawless when your gold-fixed cracks are exactly what makes you extraordinary? 528 Hertz works on this acceptance at a cellular level. The conscious mind can agree with Wabi-Sabi philosophy, but the subconscious and nervous system still operate in old patterns. They still tense up when they encounter imperfection. They still want to fix, hide, improve. 528 Hertz is like acoustic reprogramming. Vibration penetrates tissues. And in this penetration, there's a message. It's okay to let go. It's okay to be how you are. It's safe here. It's not instantaneous transformation. It is a gentle conditioning process. You listen to 528 Hertz regularly while consciously practicing acceptance of imperfections. Start small. Imperfect object in the house, mark on the wall, risk on furniture. Instead of seeing a defect that needs correction, just observe. Note how irregularity creates character, how light interacts differently with imperfect surfaces. As there is visual interest that a smooth surface would never have. It seems like a trivial exercise, but it is rewiring perception, creating new neural pathways where imperfection triggers curiosity instead of judgment, appreciation instead of rejection. And the more you practice with external objects, the easier it becomes to apply internally. Then transfer it to you. Look in the mirror without a mental catalog of defects to correct. Just see, this is the body you have. Face. It does not correspond to aesthetic standards manufactured by the industry, but it's real, it's lived. There is history written in each brand. It is not the perfection of an untouched statue, it is evidence of experienced life, and that has value that artificial perfection will never have. While practicing, 528 Hz plays. Constant, soft, creating acoustic field where resistance naturally decreases. Because sound is altering the state of the nervous system, it's making it easier for the parasympathetic to take control. It is creating an internal environment where acceptance is the path of least resistance, and the body always chooses lower resistance when it feels safe. Another pillar of Wabi-Sabi, impermanence. Everything changes, everything will calm down, everything eventually falls apart. And this is not an existential tragedy, it's just mechanics of reality. Flowers sprout, bloom, wither. Buildings rise, age, crumble. Bodies are born, grow, decline. Moments arise and dissolve. Everything is transitory. And beauty is not in freezing things in an imaginary ideal state. It's about appreciating each phase of the transformation. A flower being born has beauty. An open flower has beauty. Withering flower has different but equally valid beauty. The problem is you hierarchizing phases, judging some as superior and others as inferior. As if existence had an ideal point and everything else was decline or preparation. Much of your mental fatigue comes from resisting impermanence, trying to freeze good moments, prevent inevitable changes, maintain control over a fundamentally uncontrollable process. But reality is flow, temporary organization emerging from chaos before dissolving back. Entropy always increases. It's the second law of thermodynamics. It is not optional. The more you fight it, the more you exhaust yourself. Because you are fighting against the basic law of the universe. Wabi-Sabi teaches you to surf change instead of resisting it, finding beauty in the process, not just results. And when you stop fighting impermanence, when you accept that everything including you is transitory, there is strange but profound relief. Because stop trying to build permanence on a foundation that has always been temporary. Stop wasting energy on an impossible battle. 528 Hertz amplifies acceptance of change. There is preliminary research, not yet conclusive, suggesting that this frequency influences genetic expression. It can activate cellular renewal and repair processes, scientifically still debated, but experientially, thousands report feelings of renewal, as if something stagnant started to flow, as if cells received a signal to reorganize themselves. Literal or psychosomatic, both are real. Separation between mind and body is artificial. They are aspects of the same system. And if you experience renewal, if tiredness decreases, if life becomes lighter, exact mechanism is secondary. Result is what matters, and result is how you feel, how you live. Specifically about the manifestation of mental fatigue, It's not just being tired, it's constant cognitive fog, difficulty concentrating, disproportionate irritability. It all seems like a Herculean effort. Even activities that normally bring pleasure feel like heavy obligations. Procrastination intensifies not because of laziness, but because of a total lack of emotional energy to start anything. Every task seems like an impossible mountain, and you're already exhausted just looking at her. Part of it is chemistry. Dysregulated neurotransmitters, chronically high cortisol, serotonin, and dopamine depleted. But chemistry does not emerge from a vacuum. It's a product of how you live, of impossible standards you try to reach, of constant resistance that you carry. Brain chemistry is a downstream effect of psychology and behavior. It changes how you relate to existence, and chemistry eventually follows. Wabi-Sabi radically changes how you define value and success. Western culture measures by production. How much do you make? How much does it reach? How much do you earn? If you're not constantly growing, improving, optimizing, you are stagnating, failing. It is industrial mentality applied to biological organisms, but you are not a machine. It's being alive. And living things have rhythms, natural cycles of activity and rest, of expansion and contraction. To do and integrate, forcing constant linear production breaks the system. Wabi-Sabi values dormancy, indoor winter, non-production moment, not as a failure but as a necessary phase. Land needs to rest between plantings. You need to rest between projects. And real rest is not sitting in front of a screen while your mind remains in production mode. It's a deep pause, mental. Emotional, cell phone. It is allowing the system to self-organize without constant supervision. 528 Hz facilitates that genuine pause, calms the conscious mind enough for subconscious processes to work. Integration and healing happen when conscious control loosens, during deep sleep, during meditative states, during alteration of consciousness. 528 Hz is a bridge to these states without needing elaborate techniques. Just listen with the intention of allowing. And nervous system begins its own maintenance. Simplicity is another essential element of Wabi-Sabi. Not sterile minimalism where everything is white and empty, but simplicity that comes from healing excess, to keep only what is useful. Essential is not just functional. It could be something that brings inexplicable joy, or peace, or precious memory, but it's intentional, chosen, not accumulated unconsciously. A lot of tiredness comes from excess, too many choices paralyzing, too much information overloading, excessive fragmentation of commitments, too many possessions weighing you down, excessive stimuli bombarding the nervous system that has evolved into a much simpler environment. It is constantly overloaded, and when the system overloads, it slows down, locks. Need to reset, but you don't allow it, keep piling more. And he asks why he is exhausted. Wabi-Sabi invites simplification, healing through subtraction, not addition, fewer commitments freeing up time, fewer objects freeing up space, fewer superficial relationships releasing energy, less consumption of information freeing up attention, and in the void that is created there is space to breathe, to think slowly, to feel unhurried, to exist without always doing. Listening to 528 words in a simplified environment, the effect multiplies. Less competition for attention, less noise interfering. Sound can penetrate deeply, work subtle layers, and you can be genuinely present instead of scattered among 1,000 simultaneous stimuli. Concrete practice establishes physical space in the house, specific corner, private chair. It doesn't have to be big, 1.5 square will do, but it makes it intentionally simple. Remove excess, leave only what belongs there. It's your haven of deliberate simplicity, your personal Wabi-Sabi sanctuary. When mental exhaustion sets in, go to this space. Set 528 Hz to play. Sit or lie down. And it simply allows it. Don't try to meditate perfectly. Don't force relaxation. It is just present with the simplicity of the environment and the vibration of the sound. And practice looking at your own tiredness, not as an enemy to destroy, but as a messenger to listen to. What is it telling you? What have you demanded beyond what is sustainable? That you're living according to values that are not yours? What are you resisting what you need to accept? Listen with curiosity without judgment. And while listening internally, 528 Hz externally creates a field where this listening is possible, where you don't need to have immediate answers. You can just recognize it, just testify. I'm tired because I have tried to be perfect in an imperfect world, because I have struggled with the transitory nature of existence, because I have resisted my own human limitations. And in recognition, without judgment, without immediate impulse to achieve, now real transformation begins. Wabi-Sabi does not offer a solution in the conventional sense, offers radically different perspective. Solution implies that there is a problem, but what if there is no problem? What if there is only experience, situation, moment in the flow of life? When you stop framing everything as a problem in need of a solution, energy that was spent on resistance is released, because it is no longer being drained by fighting what it simply is. Imagine flowing water. Encounters obstacle. Don't fight it. Don't try to destroy. It just flows around. And with time, patience, persistence, water can even wear away rock. But it's not the goal. It's a natural consequence of flowing consistently. You can be like water. Obstacles will appear. Imperfections will exist. Changes will happen. You can hit yourself repeatedly, exhausting yourself. Or it can flow around, conserving energy, adapting organically. 528 Hz makes you more fluid, less viscous, more able to flow without excessive resistance. And Wabi-Sabi is understanding that flowing is possible, that you don't need to be a rigid rock resisting everything. It could be flexible water dancing through everything. About realistic expectations, instant magic doesn't happen. You won't listen to 520 Hz for one session and cure decades of conditioning. You won't read about Wabi-Sabi and immediately accept every imperfection. Deep transformation takes time because it is undoing your entire life's programming. Years of messages that perfection is mandatory, that imperfection is failure, that you're never enough. It doesn't go away overnight, but each repetition, each practice, weakens old patterns while strengthening new ones. Neuroplasticity works through repeated use. What you practice regularly grows. What neglects atrophy. So by consistently practicing exposure to 528 Hz, while cultivating philosophical acceptance of imperfection, while simplifying the environment, while stopping resisting impermanence, new neural pathways form. Gradually, they become main routes. Old patterns of brutal self-criticism become abandoned trails rarely visited. Change is incremental, so gradual that it is imperceptible day by day. But months later, he looks back and realizes he's not so exhausted anymore. Small imperfections don't disturb you intensely. Changes don't terrify you. There is more internal breathing space, more lightness in the chest, and you don't identify the exact moment of the turning point. It just recognizes that it has turned. Like a season transition, imperceptible while it happens, obvious in hindsight. Gratitude integrates perfectly with Wabi-Sabi. Not toxic gratitude forcing trauma appreciation, but gratitude for the imperfect as imperfect. By the transitory as transitory. You look at an old object marked by use and you are grateful not despite the marks, but for the marks. Because each one tells a story, how useful it was, how many lives he touched, how long did you testify. Apply to yourself. Gratitude for the marks that experience left on the body, for the mistakes that taught lessons impossible to learn any other way, for the failures that humbled ego and cultivated compassion, not romanticizing suffering, but recognizing that the suffering you survived shaped you, and molding hurts, leaves scars, but it creates unique shape that you wouldn't have without it. Practicing gratitude while listening to 528 Hz, something interesting emerges. Gratitude already elevates emotional state, changes brain chemistry positively, activates regions associated with well-being, and 528 Hz amplifies this effect, creates resonance, like waves building up constructively, result greater than the sum of its parts. It is an experience of deep acceptance, penetrating not only conscious cognition, but the entire nervous system. In this deep somatically rooted acceptance, mental exhaustion is finally allowed to release, because a lot of it was accumulated resistance, muscular and emotional tension from constantly fighting reality. When you stop fighting, when you accept, when you even give thanks, tension dissolves, and with it, the tiredness he carried. Not instantly, but inevitably, if it remains consistent. You return to practice even when it doesn't seem to visibly work. Because sometimes deeper growth is underground, happening without superficial evidence, like a seed germinating under the ground. Nothing visible for days, weeks, but crucial work is being done, roots developing, structure forming. And when it finally sprouts, it seems sudden. But it was a continuous process all the time. His mental exhaustion cure follows the same pattern. It may seem like nothing changes, but if you are practicing consistently, change is happening in the unseen depths of the nervous system. It's reorganizing neural patterns. It is reconditioning automatic responses. You are cultivating a new relationship with imperfection and impermanence, and it will visibly emerge when roots are strong enough, when new patterns have solidified, when intertransformation has not matured. And then you'll realize that you don't remember exactly when it was the last time you felt that persistent, deep exhaustion that seemed permanent, because it dissolved so gradually that it went unnoticed until he looked back. And he understood. He was transforming all the time. Each session with 528 Hz, every moment practicing acceptance, each time choosing simplicity over complexity, each moment allowing instead of forcing. It was healing, it was changing. I just needed enough time, enough patience, sufficient persistence. And Wabi-Sabi teaches you exactly these qualities. Patience with an imperfect process. Acceptance that transformation is not linear, which has apparent setbacks, doubts, difficult days. But this is all part of the process. It is not evidence of failure. It's the process happening. And when you stop judging each step, you can simply be present with it. And being present, allowing, accepting, is infinitely less exhausting than resisting, controlling, forcing.